Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. I'm Billy, the host. Welcome back to the show. 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 I'm Billy, the host.
Are you a chin microphoner?
Pretty, yeah. For the most part, yeah. I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah. I just noticed a couple months ago, it's like, wait a minute, people put them on their chins.
I try to get it as close to my mouth as possible.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was in a band, so you learn, like, you spend a lot of time playing around with the mic, with live sound and stuff. It amazes me, some of these comedians, when they start screaming into the microphone or something. I'm like, how do you have no self-awareness that this joke's not landing because it's abrasive to the ears and the sound guy?
So, like, the content is good, but it's the delivery.
Yeah, I think there's comics who they have good material, but they don't have that stage awareness yet.
Right.
Which I think you figure out, yeah.
Yeah, but it can take so long to figure all that shit out.
Do you mind if I do a little intro and then we'll just roll in?
I do mine.
You don't want to do an intro?
No, intro.
All right, we don't have to. I'll do it later.
No, I'm an improv guy. You're supposed to go in, slice of life.
Because I want to keep talking about this. Like, do you think there's comedians that you've seen that, like, they're not there yet, but you can see it?
By the way, can I claim that I'm high or drunk or something?
Yeah, you
I
can.
say something wrong?
Yeah, comedians do that on stage all the time. Like,
yeah. I want to talk shit, but I don't want to offend anybody.
You know when a comic is bombing and they're like, oh, sorry, I'm too high or whatever. It's like, no, dude, I offered you weed outside. You said, no, I don't like to smoke before I go up.
No, please, of course. Do your intro. Do your little intro.
Welcome back to the show, y'all. I'm Billy, the host, and we are at the one and only dynamic El Dorado in Old Fourth Ward, Atlanta. It's the premier comedy club in Atlanta to see rising, up-and-coming artists, comedians, musicians, improv, alternative comedy. What else happens here?
We've had some burlesque.
Burlesque, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some burlesque back. Talking to a clown.
Nice. Yo.
To come over and do something.
Let's go.
That's a hot thing in LA these days.
At Swayze's, they used to have an act come through called Cutthroat Freak Show. He was on America's Got Talent. He's like a sideshow act.
Uh-huh.
And he does things like he'll lift cinder blocks with his eyelids, and he'll staple things to his nuts and stuff.
That shit is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens enough. Little Five, you guys might think you know Little 5 Points, but like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we're losing it. That's old Atlanta that we're burning again.
Well, I guess, how do you avoid it, man? Because, like,
you can't. You just have to surf the wave.
It is what it is, right? Like, all the rich white people are moving into those places. It's like people like me, like, I'm low to the ground, honestly. I've only worked like part-time jobs in pursuit of my art since the age I was 15.
Yeah.
16, I think, because I had a car. And I started a band when I was in high school. And then I joined a more serious band after high school. And so...
define more serious band.
We would tour, and we bought a van for $1,800 cash that was older than I was. And, we were complete idiots.
Yeah.
But, like...
I've seen that movie.
But I can't live in the city because it's like... Everything's more expensive in the city. The suburbs are way cheaper, in my opinion. You shack up with your bandmates in a house in Marietta, and you don't have to pay the city tax of like all the hustle and bustle going on around you.
Yeah.
Marietta's like a best kept secret because when people hear it, they think of like
Big Boss Man.
they just think they think you're basically living in like Canton or Cartersville or Douglasville or something like that, but it's not. It's like right on the outskirts of the city, and it's just like this little nice area, which I'll admit the police are a little overzealous in the area. But if you're not, going crazy doing something super insane, they'll leave you alone.
I don't know what to say to that. I never took the band, living with my band route.
How long you been doing comedy?
I still don't think I'm doing comedy. I think I'm funny in like private parties.
This is comedy though. You're in comedy.
I'm comedy adjacent.
Well, yeah, but like, did you know when you opened this spot up, the stand-up comics were just gonna come in droves?
No,
we're like sharks out here, man. We're like not even sharks. We're like piranhas. Once we get a whiff of something, everybody wants a little nibble.
Oh my god. No, this was a happy coincidence, happenstance. I started doing improv almost a decade ago, and there were a couple improv theaters that closed down before the pandemic. Like they like to do, improv is just not profitable at all. If you think stand-up is bad, improv is even worse. But there were a couple places that closed down.
I've done improv many times.
Yeah.
I was part of a church improv group.
I need to hear more about
it was clean comedy, okay. And which is kind of fun. Doing improv at the church is kind of fun because if you get good at staying clean and not going blue at all, then when you sneak a blue line in, that's like just a little bit over the line where the pastor's wife is going to give you that side eye. Like, what'd you just say? It makes it so the payoff is way better. Like, you get the whole room. Like there was
abstinence.
One time we were doing the four-headed opera star, and the get was first day of school or whatever. So we're going through the song. It's like four-headed opera star. Like there's four people. Somebody's playing the piano, and you make up a song one word at a time. Each player does one word, and so we're going through the story, and it gets to so I went to my friend's locker to buy, and it falls on me, and I was like, drugs. In a church full of people who are trying to be polite and upstanding, but they live in the real world. Everybody's got sins out here, Absolutely. Everybody got a couple of sins. So that just an example that like you can go a little blue and it pays off.
Anybody can go blue right off the bat, and but if you can, I don't know, is that like some sort of comedic edging? Like if you can hold off, to go blue. Yeah,
I'm an idiot, man, because like after that, I put that in my resume and everything, and I had a recruiter hit me up and was like, hey, I'm part of a touring Christian improv group.
Wow.
And, I think you'd be a good fit for it. I want you to audition and stuff. And at the time I was like just starting stand up and I wanted to find myself artistically. I didn't want to commit to some Christian improv group or whatever. And I was also like drinking and smoking a lot at the time. So I didn't want to,
a little bit difficult.
I didn't want to be like, hey, I'm not an example for like, how maybe the members of the church should act.
Every group needs a black sheep.
Yeah. But now that I'm older, I'm like kicking myself because I probably could have made some money doing that. And at least like got that experience.
Do you want me to bring out the list of things I should have done?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have opened this place right before the pandemic. That's probably the big one.
Oh, so when did you first open the spot up?
So there were a couple places that closed down, and I had a rental that I sold to my tenant, and I I sold it. I had a little bit of money, and I'm like, okay, so maybe I should buy another rental. And this was in 2019. Prices had gone up. Uh, I didn't know what to do with that money, and I didn't just want to throw it away.
Yeah, squander it.
Somehow this corner came into my radar, and I'm like, okay, I can go commercial, try it out, rent it out to an attorney and an accountant. T-Mobile might rent it out. Who knows? And I'm like, well, all these places closed down where I used to perform at Highwire.
Yeah.
They had just closed down, and I'm like, okay, let me just have a couple friends over. Maybe we can get some classes going while I prep the place to lease it out. And we started having some shows and some practices and some classes. And I'm like, this might.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I've got enough money that I can hold out for a couple of years and build it up, and this might be a reasonable thing to do, and it'll be fun. And then the pandemic struck.
Yeah.
And I had to do all kinds of jumps, and it was an odyssey. We did some tapings, and we would open up, and then the second wave would come over, and then another wave would come up and down, and it was a mess. But somehow we're still going at it, and it was mostly improv for the longest time.
Yeah.
But then Tim Maggard helped me out with an open mic. I had always
Tim and then Ben.
Yeah. Rest his heart, rest his soul.
Yeah.
So that's who you have to blame. Tim and Ben.
Yeah, good luck. Tim will put you in a chokehold.
I love that guy.
Tim is great. He's very funny. Yeah, that's great, man. I remember Tim being heavily involved. I wish I could have been more involved, but I was struggling with the pandemic myself, and then my wife got pregnant, and now I have a baby, and so everything changed for me too completely. But I think like this place, like, do you remember the Relapse Theater that was around?
Absolutely.
Like, that was a great spot, I think, because Bob was just a crazy person. And what I loved about him was if you came up to him and you said, hey, man, I have this idea for a show. Here's what it's going to be. What do you think? He'd be like, well, I have these dates available. Like, he didn't really care if your show was going to be successful or not. He would let you learn the hard way. How do I put on a show? How do I promote it? How do I book the comics or whatever it is? And I think that cultivates artists, like allowing them to learn the industry hands-on really makes like true artists, not just people who do it for a while, they have some fun, they make some friends, and then they move on to something else.
You got to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do a little bit of everything. Bob had a run for about 6 months here with his improv group.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. He helped out a lot for a while. I don't know what he's up to these days. But yeah, I want to have people, I want to offer the opportunity for people to come in and put on a show. And I haven't been to these maker places, but I figure this is something similar.
Yeah.
I've got microphones and some cameras and some lights. I just need people to come in, put on a show.
Yeah. The Punchline has the advantage of being 250 seats.
Yeah.
So somebody who's coming to town because they want to make some money, they might look into that if they're not doing theaters, right? And then Laughing Skull, they have the advantage of being just like...
they have almost 100, right?
Yeah, almost 100, and it's in the back of the Vortex, which is already a pretty poppin' spot. And then they do strictly stand-up shows every single night.
Yeah.
So, it's like that consistency of I can show up to Laughing Skull any night of the week and see a comedy show. I think that helps a lot too.
Yeah. But I kind of want to have some variety.
Yeah.
With what we do here.
And I like that about here is that like there's all kinds of different shows. You know, you've got everything from Seven Fest to Lavender Laughs to Hot Pepper Comedy, like different themes. The the improv shows all are kind of different, and
we have Kenny and Tank, who had a show where people would throw tomatoes.
Yeah. Oh, Taylor's show, Riff Raft.
Riff Raft, yeah.
That's a great one where you just pull a riff off the wall and.
Yeah, we've had a great variety of shows, and so I call this an incubator. Just I try to make it an incubator. I want to have. We've hosted a couple other podcasts that have recorded here. We've had listening parties, and I don't know where else you can do stuff like this. I'm sure there's other places, but.
Yeah, I mean, you could rent a place out, for whatever amount of money, and then they probably have some rules or like a theater or something. But like, say, because I'm from Marietta, so say you want to rent out like the Strand Theater, that's $3,000, I think, and that's a 500-seat theater you got to fill. Whereas like. Andy Rodman or Nick Brandon or something, and they want to record an album, it's like, let's pack this place out and do it with our friends. And I think that's like, that's more personal. That's what's going to really cultivate the scene. I try to tell all the comics that are like touring and stuff, like to just come drop in here because it's a cool spot. You'll really see some people that are out here doing comedy. I don't know if it ever happens, but
no, we've had some really cool people come by. I get nervous with that type of thing because I still don't feel like I'm ready to receive people.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so.
So much I have to learn.
Yeah.
And I still need to get the word out, and I'm not very good with marketing.
Pretty much like if Dave Chappelle walks in or Mark Norman walks in, you just let them do whatever they want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I would still kind of be so embarrassed. It's like I don't really have a green room. I just have some curtains.
It's a small spot, but that's what gives it character, because any stand-up comic knows, like, if you're not a big star or an internet sensation or whatever, like, you gotta fill the room, so you might as well start with a smaller room.
It's so much easier to fill this little room.
It's like, if you've been working out in the gym all day but nobody's complimented you on your arms, wear a smaller t-shirt.
Yeah. Surround yourself with uglier friends.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Exactly. You got a lot of water bottles, man.
Yeah.
You got so many water bottles, too.
People, every night, somebody leaves a water
No
bottle.
way. Is that all lost and found right there?
It's all lost and found.
Dude. Incredible.
I've got this other one. Last year, I tried to give out some awards, so I took some and spray painted them.
Incredible. Trophies. That's hilarious. They're all different too. Like, I feel like I'm looking into somebody's like diary by looking at these water bottles.
Yeah, we've got the Sister Lisa's church and ping pong emporium down the street. I was thinking about just calling this the Water Bottle Museum. I don't have any of these fancy new Stanleys.
I like the ones with stickers because that's where you get the personality.
Oh, I hadn't noticed. This one has a phone number. I should call this.
It's just an algae bottle, though. That's peasant water bottle right there.
Well, it's
not insulated. Why would you not want an insulated bottle?
Dude, not all of us have big stand-up money like you do.
These are $10 at Walmart. That's why I put stickers all over it, too, is because I know I'm going to lose it at some point, and I try to see how many stickers I can get on before I lose it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Leave it somewhere.
Yeah.
because I used to have stickers just lying around. I never knew what to put them on. And so I said, I'm going to put them on the water bottle. That way when I lose it. And all these, I got all the i7, i9, i5, AMD Ryzen. These are all the PCs I've built.
Yeah. I was such a sticker collector. I never wanted to waste a sticker.
That's how I was too. I didn't want to waste it, put it on something and then not like it there and then peel it off or something. So the water bottle was the perfect solution for my, what would you call that, OCD? I'm not a very neat, organized person though. I'm very like messy. I'm a nester.
Not for my stuff. Like for my stuff, I can't organize for shit.
Yeah. I can't do other people's either. It's just, sometimes it's like if I'm at work or something, I'll organize something and then someone will come by and be like, who organized this? It looks terrible. I realize I'm not a very visually creative person. I'm not good at things like, drawing, painting, photography.
But it sounds like you're interested in that.
Interior design. I like it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm better at like auditory creativity, music, and
because there's no record of it.
No
way.
Well, I think I can tell kind of. I have a good sense of what sounds pleasing to the ear versus what. I know what sounds relaxing or hyped up, or I think stand up is a lot of that. I think the auditory part of it, like the ASMR part of stand up, it factors in. Like I said, like you don't want to be screaming at the audience the whole time.
What's the most important thing about stand up to you?
I would say the most important thing,
besides props.
Yes. Stage presence.
Like the way you look?
Like timing.
Okay.
I like to describe it like it's like surfing kind of. You're looking for a wave to ride. That's when you do your little setups and your premises.
Yeah.
And then every now and then you catch one and you want to just ride that as long as you can.
Just punch it.
Sometimes you can hit a big peak and then you ride it back down. That's how I feel about it. So timing, I think, is everything, truly. Because there's comedians in the scene here, I think, that are really good writers. Their material is good, but just the way they deliver it, it doesn't sound right. It's not compelling to listen to. And I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why, but I know I'm just like watching them, and in my head, I'm like, I could do this joke better. Maybe not perfect, but I could do it better than this. Because it is a funny idea.
It is. To me, it's so hard not to give notes to people. Like, oh, you should have said this thing this other way. You should have paused for a second.
Yeah. But I also feel like sometimes you think that, but then you're wrong.
Oh, I'm sure I am.
Because I give people advice. I'm like, hey, try it this way. And they try it that way. It doesn't work for them at all. And I'm like, oh, that's not. Like, it sounded better in my head coming out of your mouth.
Right. And I think it's a struggle.
Yeah.
I know there are some jokes that I've heard bomb, and I'm like, oh, I can make this work. But I don't know how to give it to that other person.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, maybe they don't want it.
Right. Yeah.
But like, it's very frustrating.
That's why I just I stopped giving notes to people unless it's like one of my close friends, and I'm like, hey, try this. And my friends have given me tags and stuff before, so I appreciate everything, even if I can't use it at all, even if I don't think it's funny. Like, I love the people who just like message me randomly on Facebook or something, and they're like, hey, I thought of this thing. Maybe you could use it in a joke. Like,
people really do that?
Yeah, sometimes I ask for it. I'll be like, hey, if anybody has it, I'm having some writer's block. If anybody has anything they think is funny, like, send me a message. And so I may never use it, but I appreciate it. Because
you never know where you're gonna get some inspiration or some.
Yeah, everybody has a different perspective, and I think stand up really like. I think there was a boom after COVID where something just changed in people's minds where they're like, "Oh, I want to follow my dreams" or whatever. A bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
But I think everybody has the potential to be funny. Like everybody has their own unique voice and perspective on life. And being funny, all it really is, I think, is like laughter is a social response. Like even monkeys have it when you want somebody to like you laugh, or when something takes you by surprise, you laugh. Or
right, yeah.
So it's something to connect with other people naturally. So I think everybody has that in them.
Yeah, it worries me when people are not into it.
Yeah.
I know so many people that are just the serious type. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
yeah,
really, you're not. No jokes, no nothing.
It's weird. It's like
it's cheap. It's relaxing. It makes you establish a bond with another person.
Why do you just want to get mad at somebody? I don't think any comic has ever gone on stage being like, I hope somebody gets mad at me. Maybe 7. Actually, definitely 7. He's told me that. But every time I go on stage, I'm like, I want everybody in the room to like me. Last night I was at McCracken's. This girl was talking to the comic before me. So as soon as I got on stage, I started talking to her too. There's like a guy sitting next to her. So I was like, and hey, what's up with you, man? Like, I asked him a question that was going to lead into one of my bits, and he just dead stared me, like no response at all. Like he was going to actually get up and like kick my ass. I was like, it's not that serious, man. Like we're just,
It's a comedy show. Like this can't be your first show, Also,
people, like, are people trying you on a daily basis? Like, why do you think I'm trying your life right now? Why do you think I'm trying your respect right now? I don't care.
So is it that we're lazy and we don't want to fight? It's
maybe.
Just like I don't want to argue with anybody.
I mean,
I want everybody to like me.
I'll fight you, but one of us is gonna die probably. It could be me. It's possible.
Does it have to be that extreme?
I feel like if I'm on stage and somebody's gonna attack me, I'm not a hand-to-hand combat kind of person. So you're getting the weapon. Whichever weapon it is, you're taking it. If you're attacking me on stage, because I'm not gonna try to fight you. I'm also not ever, if I'm doing like crowd work, it's always to lead into something I want to talk about. I'm not ever just going to be rude to you.
Yeah.
I might roast you on your appearance or something like that. Like, you look like so-and-so or whatever.
I just don't get it.
But yeah, that's all in good fun, right?
Yeah, well, they don't know. People, and because I don't consider myself a stand-up. Nobody call me a stand-up. But like something I don't understand, and maybe it's because I'm coming from an improv world, I hear stand-ups talking to people, but they don't want to hear from the people.
Yeah.
And I've never understood that.
Yeah.
Like, why are you asking a question? Why are you putting that out there if you don't want a response? And then you get mad if you get a response?
I think there was a trend, I call it the Matt Rife effect, where comics saw that a comedian was getting successful doing crowd work, so they all say, well, I want to try crowd work, and so they started doing it, but they really didn't like have anywhere to go with it. So it's like that somebody will say something in the crowd about their life, and you could take that somewhere, and dig deeper and find what's funny about it. But comics would just be like, oh, so where do you work? Oh, I work at Waffle House. Oh, okay.
I got nothing.
Well, so what's up with you, man? It's like, yeah, you got nothing.
That's why I tell stand-ups to come take improv classes here at Dynamic El Dorado. We've got some classes starting in March. Come take a fucking class.
I should do more improv. I think improv is great for the comedy writing mind. Not so great for the money making.
No. Well,
but
the way I see it, you have a trinity.
Yeah.
You have stand-up, sketch, and improv.
Yeah.
And it all works different parts of your brain. It all forwards your comedic skills.
Yeah.
And, some of it is in a group, some of it is by yourself. And some jokes, maybe some jokes don't work for stand-up, but they might give you a basis for improv, or they might be a great sketch idea.
Yeah. I've learned that a little bit. I was doing some sketch video stuff before.
Yeah.
COVID, and then once COVID hit, I started doing just I started this podcast kind of as a solo thing where I was just ranting on different premises, and I found that some premises may not work for stand-up, but they make a really good video that people actually like, and they open a discussion in the comments and stuff. So yeah, everything's different, and I think improv is great for coming up with ideas because everybody's kind of trying to upstage everyone else by being funnier. Like everybody's trying to be the funniest person in the room. You might let somebody take the lead on a joke or a bit or whatever, but at the end of the day, overall improv show, you want to be the funniest one on the stage. And so that gets the gears moving and you get into that comedy headspace. I remember for the church improv shows, I would go into practice kind of I don't feel very funny today. I'm not going to be able to come up with anything. And then I would get going and get a little warmed up, and I'd be coming up with funny stuff. I'd be laughing, cheeks hurting and everything, and leaving there still coming up with more jokes afterward because that momentum was still just pushing my brain to be oh, and this is funny and this is funny.
Yeah, you're still riding that wave.
Yeah.
The way I see improv, hold on.
This is Edgewood Avenue,
Just a couple blocks away from the fire station.
This is soft white underbelly right here. I'm gonna put this in black and white. Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
It's so good. No, the way. So I did Argentine tango for 10 years a while back, and I think that's where I learned this thing about improv, where it's not about trying to outdo your partner. I try to make my partner look better than me.
Okay.
And I do that so that I have other people who want to play with me.
Yeah.
And that is something that I appreciate as an observer. If I see somebody making somebody else look better, that to me, I value that more.
Okay, that's the difference between an improv comic and a stand-up comic, I think, is that the stand-up comic is going to wait for you to turn your back and then drive a knife into it.
Some improvisers will do that. But you got to find that balance. Maybe those are the two wolves you have.
Yeah.
Of you.
But I think stand-up is very dog-eat-dog, at least in the Atlanta scene. And I think that's changing a little.
Okay, hold on. That to me terrifies me because every so often, at least once or maybe twice a month, I hear the Atlanta scene is the most cohesive, the most united community that they've seen, that they know of, where people celebrate each other's birthdays. And I find that supportive, but you're saying people are...
No,
backstabby?
It is supportive, but it's also it's very
other people to feature for you.
I think it's very I'll be nice to your face, but then I will, if you don't do this show right, I'll take the venue, or I'll talk shit about you in my group chat with my friends or whatever, which is That's fine if you want to talk shit about me in your group chat with your friends. I understand that. I'm kind of putting myself out there, being on stage, and it doesn't hurt my career at all for you to talk shit about me in your private group chat.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'll do it about you in my private group chat maybe, but I'm not going to go out of my way to hurt your career. And if you get an opportunity, I'm going to be happy for you still. But I do think it's very like cliquey in like, these are my friends and nobody else is allowed inside this group.
Yeah.
Because I've found my friends and I want to protect that or whatever. I think there's a couple different cliques here in Atlanta. And part of it's geographical.
Yeah.
Where people live. Like, I definitely think there's a bit of a Marietta clique even, like the people who live out there and run shows out there. But even that's getting a little better with the alley stage. We're getting a lot more people just from all over coming through.
Yeah.
Instead of just McCracken's in the Strand and wherever else, Monticello. So there's quite a few rooms out in Marietta. Mellow Black. He's got the what's it called? Boxwood Social, Comedy Squared. I had a show at the Red Hair Brewery on the Marietta Square. That one's really nice. The manager I was working with just left, so I got to talk to the new manager about keeping the show going, but it's even smaller than this room. Probably like you could fit like maybe 25 people in there, 30.
So you're suggesting I close down for a week and then just do a tour?
Yeah.
Marietta.
Yeah. Just check out Marietta. Well, we're trying to get it. We're trying to get it in a way where like we can have people come through Marietta and do like 3 to 4 shows in a weekend and 2 to 3 podcasts and just be like fully booked for a Marietta weekend.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
So is your clique starting a festival up there?
We've talked about it. The Marietta Comedy Festival. It's like on the square alone, we have like, I think 5 venues. So we could, and then.
Who would have thought Marietta would have so much comedy?
Yeah, it's wild. Well, Marietta's always been a good art scene, like the band 3 Doors Down is from Marietta.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The band Microwave. They're big time now. They're from Marietta.
The Big Boss Man.
The Big Boss Man's from Marietta. Yeah, you know, we've always had like a decent art community there. We had lots of young people, you know, with tattoos and motorcycles and shit. Yeah. So, you know, like, I do think there's kind of a stigma in Atlanta of like, if you don't live in the city, you're not as cool as somebody who does. But it's like, I like Marietta. That's why I live there. It's nice.
I mean, I don't think we think at all about people outside of the perimeter.
Yeah.
It's just like.
But then, like, sometimes the OTP people feel like, you know, we're kind of excluded from some of the things that are going on. ITP. And that, I think that's a product that just that we don't come down here enough. Yeah. We don't drive into the city enough. But that's why, you know, we got our own thing in Marietta.
It's tough. Once you stop, I mean, I was used to driving 30, 40, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But now that I'm kind of in the middle of everything, it's like, oh, God, I got to drive 20 minutes.
Are you from Atlanta?
I've been here since 94.
Okay. Inside the city?
Well, I went to Tech.
Yeah.
So I was there for 5 years.
Okay.
And then I lived over by the Big Chicken for almost 2 years. And
okay, that's Marietta.
It's well, I never did anything in Marietta. Everything I did was down here.
Man, that's you were right there where the action was. Nah, maybe that was a while ago, right?
Yeah. Well, no offense, but I didn't pick up on any action.
There, yeah, you know that might have been a while ago.
Yeah. So
I don't know
And then I went to Decatur.
I'm 31, so I'm still.
And I'm almost 50. I'm almost 50. Things have changed.
But at least since I've been around, there's been lots of local artists in Marietta, musicians, and
I'm not knocking Marietta at all.
Well, we had a music venue called Swayze's, and that place was kind of like this, where it was just like a guy who had the space and really had a passion for art and helping artists grow. And so a lot of bands came out of Marietta just because we were hanging out there and playing and jamming all the time. So that was cool. I think Swayze's was there for something like 18 years or something like that.
Yeah. Well, so it sounds like this place, but I don't really have a passion to help people. I just don't want to drive anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of how Swayze started. He was in a band, and his band would do a lot of sideshow type of antics, like jokes and stuff. They were older, and they used to do this bit where during one of their songs, two straight men would start making out with tongue and everything, and they would play at these redneck roadside bars and stuff. And so the story goes but they would do all kinds of crazy shock value stuff like that. The story goes that they got banned from so many places they had to open their own venue, and that's how Swayze started.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that I was not funny enough for any other place, so I had to open up my own.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. That's my dream right now, is to kind of have my own permanent space in Marietta where we can do shows, podcasts.
Yeah,
bands can practice. We'll do shows with music, comedy, rappers, sideshow, whatever, anything, variety. And then I also want to have I want to have a permanent podcast studio so that we can really get some consistency going, where it's this many shows, everybody has a time slot and they can record. And
you don't think podcasts are going away?
I really like doing it now. When I first started, I was just kind of doing it to do it. Mm-hmm. And now I really enjoy it because so many great moments have come from it. So many things I wouldn't normally have been doing. I had a podcast with Ben. And I had no idea at the time that was going to be important to me or anybody else. And then, come to find out a couple years later, it's his friends and family are watching this because they want to remember what it was like when he was just bullshitting around with somebody. And so that was really important. And then similar to that, my friend Nickelback Rick passed away.
Yeah.
He was a stand-up comic, and he ran the open mic at the Strand Theater in Marietta. He worked at the Strand, and so he gave me the whole history of the Strand and the open mic on that podcast. And then he was older, and he had grandkids and stuff, and then he passed away as well. And it was just I can't stop doing this because this is becoming something that's actually matters. Right.
So now I feel like a fool.
Well, just don't die, please.
Having said all this stupid shit.
No. I mean, I think we did actually get some of the history of El Dorado here, but please don't die. If you're doing heroin or fentanyl or something, please tell somebody. Get some help.
It is.
Even if you were I don't know, I can't really help you if you are, but if you're $100,000 in debt and this place is going to close next week, please just tell somebody so we can, scramble the scene together and keep it open.
Well, I'm not that bad. I'm not making money. But things are not that dire. I don't have any, what's the term now? Suicidal ideation?
Yeah. No, it's crazy now because now that my dream is to like have a space, because when Swayze's closed down, the owner came to me and he was like, hey man, you got to take Swayze's, because he got sick and couldn't be up there anymore. And somebody had to run it. And I was like 24. I was an alcoholic. I was just like, my life was not in order at that time. I don't even know how. I can't even remember when it was, but I knew I was fucking up at the time. And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I can't do it. Like, I can't take that responsibility on right now. And he was like, it's fine, man. Like, it pays for itself, dude. Just like, all you got to do is like show up, you know, and unlock the door, turn the lights on, all that, and pay the bills, all that. I was like, I can't, man. He's like, just get your mom to loan you the money or something. I was like, if I went to my mom and said, hey, mom, I'm buying a dive bar music venue, she would be like, oh, my son's worse than I thought. It's over for him. So I turned him down at the time, but if he said that to me today, I'd be like, let's ride, like, let's go. I'm booking shows tonight. Like, we're going to do 3 shows tonight. Because now I know all the comics too. I know everybody. I can throw a show together in 5 minutes or whatever, you know, the day of.
Man, it sounds like it was a fun place.
One day though, I own some land by default. I inherited some land that I'm trying to sell right now from a family member. So once that happens, I'm going to try to buy a house and then go from there. Put my wife in the house and then...
That studio in the basement.
Yeah, basement studio for sure. I don't care, you know, if it's got to be like a 2-car garage, and I'll just put up some drywall on my side and park my car on the street or something. But whatever house I purchase is going to have a studio inside, because I need a music studio as well. I have like a bedroom music studio right now, but it's not, it wouldn't really work for a podcast. It'd be tight. It'd take a lot of setup. So that's why we do it at Trent's. Trent's is great.
Yeah.
Trent's an interesting character, but I love just walking in, sitting down at the chair, and he's got my show ready to go for me.
I got to work on some more time for myself, and maybe one day he'll invite me.
To the podcast? Yeah, I'll let him know that you want to come by.
I don't want to invite myself.
They probably just don't know you're interested. Because finish the story, if you have like any good stories, just interesting stories, that's what their podcast does. Is like Greg Barron's told this story about how he opened for Ron Jeremy, and it was a whole ordeal. Mm-hmm. I told this story about how meth heads were cutting my internet cable at my old apartment complex, and it was a whole saga. And I have all these pictures and Facebook posts and stuff. So, yeah, that one's really fun if you have an interesting story, entertaining story.
I'll have to dig something up. I don't quite have anything.
Yeah, check out Finish the Story, Trent's Unnamed podcast. If you're listening to this, you probably already know about them. Check out Dynamic El Dorado. You guys do shows almost every night, right?
It feels like it.
Yeah.
Right now we're doing classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and then some shows on Thursdays, then Fridays and Saturdays.
Right here in the heart of Atlanta. If you want to learn about comedy, or you just want to see some comedy and have a night out, this is the spot to do it. I think this place is absolutely necessary for Atlanta comedy to be a strong, successful scene. So I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me today.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Miguel, everybody. Dynamic El Dorado. Peace.